You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day, and happy last day of Sagittarius season. Scorpio season. See, I'm already ready for Sagittarius season. And the sun is at the anaretic degree today, the 29th degree. So you might be feeling that too, that restless energy. Let's just get on to Sagittarius season already. Today's birthdays are some fun ones because we get to play the game. Are they a Scorpio or are they a Sagittarius? Goldie Hawn gives me more Sag vibes, but who knows? We'd have to see a full breakdown of her chart. Nikki Bella has a birthday today. Carly Rae Jepsen, Jenna Maloney, or Malone. Either way, Troy Aikman, Michael Strahan. Again, all of these people are really giving me more Sag vibes, but you never know. You never know. Let me know, is someone you know celebrating a birthday today? Do you know if they are a Sagittarius or a Scorpio? Sagittarius season officially begins just after midnight tonight, 12:21 a.m. Pacific time. So we are in the final stretch of Scorpio. Happy Monday from Corby. Hey, Rachel. Yeah, so ready for Sagittarius season. And, you know, the fact that the sun moves into Sagittarius just after midnight makes it even more of a toss-up whether today's birthdays, you know, in years past were Scorpios or Sagittariuses. So let's get into it. We are ending Scorpio season on a high note with a beautiful transit today. Mercury is conjunct Venus, and beautiful is the best word I can think to describe that transit. So we'll get into that. The moon is also moving into Scorpio. It's actually in Scorpio now. So we're really getting a heavy dose of Scorpio energy on this last day of Scorpio season. Here's a current check. The sun, of course, in Scorpio. The moon just moved into Scorpio. It's at, I think, 0 degrees right now. So welcome to my lunar return. This is my energy, the moon at 0 degrees Scorpio. And there's definitely a level of intensity today. The sun at 29 degrees, the moon at 0 degrees, both critical degrees in astrology, and both really pack a punch, giving us a surge of the energy the planets are in. The sun and moon are our luminaries as well, so we feel their effects the most strongly, which means, you know, I see this as this kind of final purge of Scorpio energy. Scorpio being the sign of death and rebirth. If there's anything that needs to die, if there's anything that needs to come up and be released today before optimistic, abundant Sagittarius season, let it come up. Let it be released. This is an opportunity. Okay. Rachel, no wonder I had a flow of emotions this morning. Thanks, Scorpio moon. Yeah, the moon moved into Scorpio at 9:16 a.m. Pacific time. So might have been feeling the 29 degrees of the Libra moon or 0 degrees of the Scorpio moon. Either way, there's definitely some intensity in the forecast today. And as we get into things, I want to invite you to think about what comes to mind when you hear the word intensity, because yeah, intensity can be dark and a little over the top, a little much, but intensity can also be a little much of positive things. right? A surge of positive energy too. Intensity is not always bad. So you might be feeling that today as well. Let's get into our main transit of the day. Mercury conjunct Venus at 7 degrees of Sagittarius. So if we pull up the chart here, you can see there's only one planet left in Scorpio. It's the sun at 29 degrees. We are really feeling this Sagittarius energy start to kick in today, especially with this conjunction between Mercury and Venus. We did deep dives into Mercury and Sagittarius last Thursday, I believe, Venus and Sagittarius a week ago or so. You can find those deep dives on my channel or at thespiritualjournalist.com. But what happens when these two planets meet up in Sagittarius? It's a powerful conjunction and gives us a really beautiful taste of all of the abundance that Sagittarius season has to offer us. So you all know this, but just a refresher, if anybody's new here, Mercury is the planet of communication. It rules our intellect, our mindset, our thoughts. Mercury is in its weakest position in Sagittarius. So we are more prone to blurting things out or saying things off the cuff, or maybe not fully thinking things through before they come out of our mouth. It's like our filter is removed. Venus in Sagittarius is all about big love, abundant finances. So Sagittarius energy is already kind of over the top. It's a little extra. And on a day like today, when the sun is at 29 degrees, bringing this base level of intense energy, I could just see today being like, I got to tell that person I love them. I've got to tell that person how much they mean to me or how I feel. It's really easy to let loving energy come through in our communication with Mercury and Venus meeting up. It's like our thoughts and our words are infused with Venus energy, infused with that love. This could also be a powerful day for negotiations with money, because Venus rules money and Sagittarius is a very abundant sign. It could be a powerful day to talk about money, think about money, or maybe make a deal when it comes to money. I think also life just seems more beautiful. We look around and we can see the beauty of the world more easily. Mercury's very much associated with our perception and how we take things in, how we process information. And it's like we're looking through rose-colored glasses today with Venus right here, making life seem more like art, more beautiful, more lovely. So there's a lot of love in the forecast today. There's this big infusion of seeing love, feeling love, thinking love. Somebody in the comments, some bot, hot girl pics for you. A little over the top, right? But that's one example of intensity. A little much, right? So I guess I don't think this is anything to like warn you about, but today is one of those days. I don't know about you. I have definitely been in situations where I maybe come on a little strong or say how I feel before another person is ready to hear it. Not anything bad, but Sagittarius energy is very honest energy, very truthful energy. So you might, this is just my suggestion, you might want to think about the message you're saying before you say it. Again, Mercury and Sagittarius, easy to blurt things out. Even beautiful, loving things. You don't want to end up diving in too deep, too fast. Remember, the sun and moon are both in Scorpio. We tend to go deep when these planets are in Scorpio. Yeah. Today's not the day to say I love you on a whim in a brand new relationship. It might feel like you want to, but really make sure you feel that way and the other person is going to receive it. If it's your first date, let's not say I love you. Or if you just met the person this weekend, wait until Sagittarius season kicks in and we're all feeling a little more open and expansive. Again, no judgment. I have been there. I have been that person that just is an open book and like, this is how I feel, and then freaks people out. So that could be a byproduct. But overall, this is a really beautiful, beneficial transit. Even deep emotions could come up. Rachel being vulnerable with us under the Scorpio moon, which we love. Even powerful emotions that are coming up with the moon in Scorpio could be loving emotions. It could be when you think about how much you love someone or what you really want out of life, that provokes an emotional response. And that's okay too. Again, the word intensity comes to mind. You might have an intense emotional reaction to things that you normally might not, or the intense emotional reaction might not be to something negative or sad. It might be something brings you to tears because it's just so beautiful or so loving. So expect intensity, but also expect love. Let's chat a little bit about what happened with the Libra moon overnight, just to fill you in. The moon was in Libra for most of the weekend, really putting the focus on relationships, nurturing those relationships, wanting to find balance, peace, and harmony. And as we discussed on Friday, there is peace in the surrender. That was the message of the Libra moon, the waning crescent moon in Libra in this phase, inviting us to surrender and release and find balance through that release. Overnight at 3 a.m., so East Coasters, this was 6 a.m. for you. And Rachel, this might have played into the powerful emotions coming up for you this morning. The moon squared Pluto at 26 degrees. So many of us probably slept through this transit, especially those of us who live on the West Coast or even farther west. But if you live in eastern parts of the world or even of the United States, you might have felt this transit as you were waking up, the moon squaring Pluto. So you can't see it very easily on our chart anymore, but this tense 90-degree angle between the moon and Pluto can bring up deep emotions in a surprising way. They might catch you by surprise, like, oh, didn't realize that was coming up, didn't realize we were going there today. So it can be kind of this final purge. And the moon moving into Scorpio in general today feels like this final purge of emotions of Scorpio season, of the darkness that we faced, of fears, doubts, beliefs, all that stuff could come up today. It's kind of like the end of the release, the end of the death process, so we can be reborn. Once the sun moves into Sagittarius, once the moon moves into Sagittarius, we have so many abundant transits this week. With a new moon on Wednesday, Jupiter is going to station direct right around that new moon, right at the beginning of Sagittarius season. And remember, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So it feels like a lift of energy in a lot of ways over the next couple days. But first, we might have a few more things that need to be purged to prepare us to be optimistic and abundant and have an open mind for all the goodness to come in Sagittarius season. So if that was you, if you felt the moon squaring Pluto, it's past now, but we are in a Scorpio moon, which is a similar energy, just deep emotions coming up. Elevate Vibrancy says, this is a good one. Mercury and Sun in Scorpio with me and Venus in Libra, making sense why this weekend was super powerful. Definitely. And Rachel says, so I'm really thankful for this transit. I had a beautiful video come through that was meant for me and was so confirming of my transformation. I literally wept tears of joy, which hasn't happened in so long. And Pluto, yeah. Wow, so crazy. And I always love your vulnerability, but I love tears of joy, because that comes back to the idea of intensity not necessarily being a negative word, a negative thing. Intensity can be just powerful emotions coming through. And that's certainly possible as the dark moon moves into Scorpio. So the dark moon is the last moon phase before a new moon. It's the darkest phase, as the name suggests, and it's a time of deep surrender, of forgiveness, of release. I love a dark moon in Scorpio because it's really a powerful time for that final purge we just talked about and for cutting energetic ties. Forgiveness is a beautiful way to cut energetic cords we have between people that are no longer serving us. So the Scorpio moon's not going to make any connections for the rest of the day today. We just get to sort of sit in this Scorpio moon energy. And I'm biased. I love a Scorpio moon. I have a Scorpio moon, but intensity is par for the course. And like I said, any lingering deep emotions could come up today, tomorrow. I see it more as today because once the sun moves into Sagittarius, it's going to feel really, I think, exciting and thrilling and like a lot of goodness is coming. But today, there might be a few lingering things that pop up. Surrender to them. And whatever's coming up today wants to be released, wants to be let go of in part of that death and rebirth process, right? So let it go. Let it no longer hold any power over you. It's a really beautiful thing when we just surrender. And actually, I think it's so synchronistic, as life always is. We had a sister circle here on Sunday, yesterday, and we did the Ho'oponopono prayer, which was the first time I've ever done it. And it's, hold on, let me make sure I have it right before I say it to you. I always forget the second line. Yes. Okay. It is. Yes. We chanted for 11 minutes straight in a group. It was so powerful, you guys. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. Wow. If there's anything that needs to be released or purged, or you're feeling like you need to let something go under this dark moon in Scorpio today, take that, use it, set a timer on your phone for 3 minutes, for 7 minutes, for 11 minutes, for 5 minutes, whatever feels good to you. And I challenge you to try that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. And see if there are any people or situations that come to mind. For me, the experience was, again, so powerful, but it also showed me how many people came to mind when I said those words, that I wanted to forgive me, or that maybe I was still holding lingering resentment towards without even consciously realizing it. You know, I think of myself as a very forgiving person. I've moved on from that. You know, it's all good. But there were situations that I was like, oh, I guess this is still kind of part of my emotional body, you know, that I'm still holding on to. So yeah, it's really powerful. I have it up here, so I want to share. Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian practice that combines love, forgiveness, repentance, and gratitude in 4 or 5 powerful phrases when said, reflecting to yourself. That's it. All you have to do is say it over and over again, or, you know, you can just say it once and see how that feels. But under the Scorpio moon, I invite you to go a little deeper, get a little more intense with it, right? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. So I wanted to share that with you all because it was my first time with that experience, and it was really amazing. All right, those are the transits for today. Lots of love, lots of intensity in beautiful ways. Let's come back to our affirmation of the day. And yet again, I have forgotten to update it. So give me one moment here so I can pull it up on the screen for you. Here we go. It is, I see the beauty in release. We're in this powerful release right now, the last day of Scorpio season, the sun at the anaretic degree, intensity, 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 but there is beauty in the release. There is beauty in the letting go, in the surrender, in the trust. We have Mercury and Venus meeting up in Sagittarius, which, yes, brings through loving ideas, loving words, but it also can bring through a level of trust and faith. Sagittarius season allows us to have faith, see trust, see the beauty in trust more easily today. And part of trust is releasing control. So where are you maybe holding on or clinging to control? That was a powerful message that came through for me last night too. We each got oracle cards at the beginning and the end, and both of mine were like, release control, let go. I'm like, calling this Virgo out. Me releasing control? Who? But there is beauty in releasing control. There's beauty in trust. There's beauty in release. So let that be your guide today. What can I release a little bit more? What can I surrender to a little more deeply? I'm so happy that resonated with you, Rachel. It's a really beautiful practice that I'm so grateful was introduced to me so I could share with you all. And I will definitely be using it again because, you know, I think I got to get him on board, but I think it would be a really powerful practice to do with a partner, you know, just sitting there together. And even if it's, like I said, just for a minute or 3 minutes, if your partner isn't quite as into the woo-woo as you, totally fine. But, you know, I think it would be a powerful practice, especially oftentimes there's that lingering resentment we have with our partners, even if we think we've moved on again, from something. Sometimes there's still something we hold in our back pocket, or like, oh, that situation, I don't want to think about it, or like that fight we had, I'm still irritated that even happened, you know. So maybe this is an invitation today to go deeper into love through release. Mercury and Venus are going to give us a more expansive understanding of love, with Mercury being that understanding piece, Venus being the love piece, and both of them being in the expansive sign of Sagittarius. But sometimes we have to, again, release in order to fully come to that state of love. Hi, Diane. All right, we're going to pull from the Rose Oracle today, since we've been talking so much about Venus and love. And we'll see what message needs to come through. Rachel says, I'll mention it to my partner. He's been holding on to so much trauma. Maybe it will help him let that go, even though he isn't woo-woo. And it's cool because, you know, my best friend has done Kundalini Kriyas and practices, and there are a lot of spiritual chants that are in other languages, but this one being in English is really powerful, I think. And, or that was her feedback at least. And, you know, I think just committing to a few minutes might help. And what's really powerful is some of the feedback that other people shared was that you start saying, you know, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you, I love you, and thinking of maybe other people in your life that you have these energetic contracts with. But then you realize at a certain point, or most people realized at a certain point, that they needed to forgive themselves, that they needed to say I'm sorry to themselves, that they needed to say I love you and thank you to themselves too. So not only are you saying it to other people, but you're also really affirming that for yourself when you say it. Diane says, rough day today. So much going on. So tired. People seem so affected today. I'm just trying to witness them having their moments, not engage. We're sending you love, Diane. And remember that word intensity that keeps coming up. It's an intense day. People are feeling big things. The moon and sun are both in Scorpio. So I think witnessing people, not letting it get to you. And it's easier to reach for love today. So seeing, okay, can I love people through their own intensity? That's the challenge today. Okay, let's see what message wants to come through. So if we can all together, whether you're joining me live right now or finding this video later, let's all just take a moment to take a deep breath, the deepest breath we've taken all day. Here we go. Breathe in nice and deep. And release. What do we need to know? Release the petals is the card that came through. Of course, a card about release on the last day of Scorpio season, and it says transformation, death and rebirth, shedding all change. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That could not be more on point with the forecast. Why am I surprised? Here it is. Release the petals. Transformation, death and rebirth, shedding all change. There comes a point where we can't go back. In a seemingly fleeting moment, the road that led us here is suddenly impossible to access. There's a sinking knowing that things will never be the same. A death, a birth, a loss, a growth, an ending, a discovery. No matter how hard you try, things are different now. You're different now. The world is different now. What's been seen can't be unseen. There's no going back. Something new beckons you forth. This is a card of change and transformation. Courage is required for the rebirth to happen. Abscission is the shedding of various parts of an organism, such as a plant dropping a leaf, flower, fruit, or seed. The rose hip knows, the phoenix does too, that we need to surrender what was to the earth to one day be transformed anew. We can grasp the petals of the past as the changing winds blow, but eventually we'll discover that change is coming. Change is near. Change is already here. And while what once was is no longer and what soon will be is not yet, it's time to release your petals to the wind with wild abandon for the chance to begin again, to offer what once was to the wind and let it nourish the seeds within. It's time to surrender so the transformation can happen. Had the rose not released its petals, the rose hip would not have come to be. When we gather the courage to release what was, we are greeted by the fruits of the future. What are you clinging to for fear of nothing coming to take its place? I don't even need to say anything about that. That was just perfect in every way for what we've talked about today. This last day of Scorpio season, this final purge, this final release, so that we can be fully born anew with fresh eyes, with fresh optimism during Sagittarius season, with this new moon in Sagittarius on Wednesday. Perfect card for today. Yeah. And right before we read that card, Diane said, I guess I roll with the Scorpio energy so I don't feel it as much myself. I'll remind myself of that. And it's okay to feel it too. It's okay to feel it. You know, sometimes feeling it is part of the release. Like, I feel this way. I don't want to anymore. So I'm just going to let that go. Let that energetic cord go. McKenna, I shared the Ho'oponopono with everybody, which was so perfect for today's forecast. McKenna from Soul Wave Holistics was the woman who led our sister circle last night and shared the Ho'oponopono with all of us. None of it was accidental. Rachel says, I am right where I need to be. I know who I am. I am love. I am powerful. I let go of what others think of me. Wow. That was powerful. Just witnessing you in your power, Rachel. And I love that 6 months ago or however long ago you started joining us here on the live stream on Transits Today. I don't know if you would have been willing to say those words in the chat, to see those words come from you. And I'm so proud of you that you are able to declare that and stand in that power. Yeah, this was aligned with that video I saw. So much confirmation. None of it is accidental, like you said. Yeah, Court, here we go. I am so angsty today. Well, release it. Let it go. Court sent me a funny message this morning that was like, we made it. Like, it's the last day of Scorpio season. We made it through, with like emojis of like an old lady and then magic and then a young girl, like death and rebirth. I loved it. So it's the final day. It's the final release. The goodness is coming. Yes. That card was so on point. It was a chef's kiss. Yes. So perfect. So perfect. Perfect messages that we needed to hear today. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you joining me today, joining me every day, sharing your light, sharing your vulnerability with us. It's a powerful community to be in with all of you. And we have a lot of excitement to talk about for the rest of the week. So let those deep emotions come up. Let this be a purge. Let them be finally released. Release the petals so you can be fully transformed. I love you all. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And I'm going to leave you one more time with this prayer. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. I will see you all tomorrow morning, ready for Sagittarius season. But whenever I see you, however I see you next, until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.